Once upon a time, there was a merchant, and he was walking along and looking in different shop windows, as was his custom. And he looked in this particular shop window and saw the most amazing pearl that he had ever seen in his whole life. He thought, I've got to have that pearl. So he walked into the shop and said to the shopkeeper, how much is that pearl? The shopkeeper looked at him and said, oh, it's a lot, and told him how much it was. The merchant went all the way home as quickly as he could, and he decided, I'm going to sell everything I have just so that I can get that pearl. So he sold everything, and he had a lot of things, and rushed back to the shop and handed over his wads of money. He even handed over his hat because he had a bit of spare, needed a bit more than what he had in his hand. He went away a happy man with this great pearl, skipping and dancing. The merchant and the great pearl. And what this is this is a story from Jesus, a parable that Jesus told. And he was saying that actually the great pearl is the kingdom of God. It's Jesus. And this merchant, when he discovered the great pearl, he was willing to give everything he had to have it. Now, I grew up in a Christian home, and I grew up knowing Jesus. And I think when you grow up with something, sometimes you can become a little bit complacent. And when I went to university, I thought, well, you know, is the pearl so great? And I decided to live life my own way and see if I could collect a few more pearls, a bit like this necklace. I thought, do you know what? You know, maybe I can have a lot of fun. That's another pearl. I can work hard. Another pearl. I can have a relationship. Another pearl. You know, I can dabble in church, maybe a little bit at Christmas, get a bit of Jesus. Another pearl. I don't know, maybe go on a few holidays. At that time, it wasn't about riches, being a student, but I could collect quite a few pearls. But I knew at the end of uni that actually, although I was having fun, that actually my life was empty. There was an emptiness deep inside, despite all the pearls that I'd been collecting. And I knew that actually what I was missing was that hidden pearl, the great pearl, Jesus. And it was costly to say, yes, I want to take that great pearl again, because it meant changing the way I was living my life. There were some changes to make, and actually, but God is very, very gracious. There were some changes, and it was costly. Just like the merchant, he had to sell everything he had, every other pearl that he had, every other belonging that he had. He had to put down the other things that were maybe seemed important in order to get that great pearl. And that's what it was like as well. It was actually saying, yes, Jesus is worth it. Because actually when you discover Jesus, you discover, the fullness of joy. It's not that you're not happy beforehand, but you discover the fullness of joy, the fullness of peace. And that's incredible. That's something worth giving everything for. And you may not have discovered Jesus yet, this great pearl. And if you'd like to, then do drop us a message. I'd love to chat with you about my story and just what I've discovered about him. And maybe it might help you. Or maybe you've been a Christian for a really long time and actually you've got a bit complacent. And I'd just encourage you just to spend a little bit of time remembering when you first discovered Jesus, whether that was an instant moment or a gradual moment over time. But just to remember that initial joy of knowing Jesus and ask him to fill you afresh with that joy once again. Jesus, the hidden pearl, the great pearl, the amazing treasure. I'd encourage you to get to know him.